All right, everybody, welcome back to this Mercyful Fate album review series. We're hopping right back into it. Last time, of course, we started off with a little, EP review because I think this is another case where the EP definitely deserves to be talked about as well as ranked in the discography. It's definitely worthy enough. As I said last time, one of my favorite EPs of all time. But after that, of course, we get the first LP of King Diamond and the Gang, and we're talking about Melissa. Very wild and awesome album art there yet again um, for this band here. And man, if I got to tell you, if the EP wasn't a teaser enough for you on how awesome these guys are, this one can just it expanded on that. So this was my first ever exposure to Mercyful Fate was listening to that EP, but of course the first full LP I listened to was Melissa here. So it looks like we got the same lineup and everything as the first album. So everybody was doing what they need to do and doing it damn good, just like that first EP there. But with that being said, let's take a look at the first track here with Evil. Opens this thing up, and man, perfect opener. Kind of a quicker track, and because there, I'll tell you this, there's some epic length ones on here that we'll get to, but Evil is just the perfect opener for this. It again, if people hadn't heard their first EP, then hey, if this song was your if this album was the first album you were listening to by them, and Evil's the first song you hear by them, I think that's a great introduction for it. I'll also mention too, the production is a fair amount better, I think, than the EP. I don't think miles ahead or anything, because I think the EP had pretty solid production, especially for like a debut release and everything. But yeah, it has very similar production, but not like I wouldn't say miles ahead better or anything. Then we go with one of my favorites here, Curse of the Pharaohs. Man, what a sick one. That's always stood out for me. It's just, I love the way, King Diamond, again, his vocals are, they're not for everybody. They're kind of, they can be kind of an acquired taste for some. I mean, I was right on into it, though, as first time I heard him. I was a little like, whoa, taken aback by his voice and everything, but I mean, I was a fan though. Like I was like, I'm digging this. But yeah, Curse of the Pharaohs has just an awesome riff, really hooky chorus and everything going on with it. Um, fantastic track to follow up that awesome opener. Then here comes my favorite, just straight up here, Into the Coven. That is one of the most badass riffs I've ever heard my entire life, right there. You could think Michael Denner, or really Hank Sherman, who is credited to writing all the music on this. But man, just that riff is so hooky that it just in the way it just you hear them both, Sherman and Denner, like play over each other kind of near the end, where it's like you can hear like the deeper tone of that main riff, and then like the higher pitched tone of that main riff going at the same time. That just, man. And then of course just the delivery of the lyrics and everything, the melody that's going on with this is just, it's almost like King Diamond just kind of answers back his higher pitched stuff with like that deep kind of very dark, almost demonic sounding growling vocal. So and you'll hear that in just a lot, pretty much. Like that's kind of been a theme in Mercyful Fate and King Diamond in general, that like he'll kind of sing in that high pitch and then like answer back, not necessarily like answering in the lyrics, but you know what I'm saying. Like as far as it'll do, a lot of times, and we'll see it again on some of these other tracks here, where it'll just kind of that's kind of how the pattern of these songs is. It almost, you could even mistakenly think it was two different singers if you didn't know better, but that's just the vocal range of King Diamond and the vocal virtuosity there of him. Then we close out side one with At the Sound of the Demon Bell, another just killer track to close out that side one. I mean, this one it's a pretty big length one right here, and is also, I would say, up there as one of my favorites. You just get some badass moments in this one. Some really wild time changes and such. That just kind of hit you, and that's another thing that this album expands upon from the EP is going. Because the EP did have its fair share of some really cool time changes and stuff that just kind of really spark you, and this album definitely expands on that, and I think At the Sound of the Demon Bell is a perfect example of that expansion and kind of leaning into like some progressive aspects um, of the band. Then we open side two with Black Funeral. Man, this one's got this dark riff going on with it. Man, absolute awesome stuff here. Yet again, which is a cool little because this one's not really a lengthy one like At the Sound of the Demon Bell. But Black Funeral is a good. I think that was a great way to open up side two with one that's not as long. The pacing on this thing's phenomenal. You've got those maybe three in a row on side one, and then just the big epic at the end, and then you pop back open or flip over for side two, right? And then you've got kind of a one that is that's kind of right back to the pacing of maybe the first three tracks on side one. So I think the pacing is really well done here. And talk about that progressive side of the band. The longest track for sure on here, Satan's Fall, got to be probably my second favorite off of your second or third favorite. This one just takes you. I mean, it's like a journey, man, like a story being told. Absolute wild ride. Some of the best damn solos on the album for sure, because there's quite a few of them on here. Which I'll also mention that for Black Funeral, that's got one of the best solos on the album as well, I think, near that closing solo. But Satan's Fall, man, this one, it just, even when you think it's over, it kind of breaks down into this soft kind of section, and then of course it picks back up and goes a little bit quicker, picks up that pace again. But this is a fantastic song, and I think one of the best Mercyful Fate songs of all time, and is even if you're not into the whole imagery and kind of their vibe and everything, it's hard to deny. I think the musicality of Satan's Fall, this track, and how complex and technical it is. A lot going on. I mean, you even got like a sick bass groove going on in this one. Just a fantastic piece right there that I think that stands out in the band's discography as being some of their best work. And I love the epic length of that one too. Awesome stuff. And we close things out with the title track, Melissa, that also is one that kind of starts off soft and everything. And really, I mean, for the most part, it really is it's kind of a softer track. I wouldn't call it a ballad, right? But it's, it kind of is the perfect, just the perfect closer to the album. I think that, you wrap up this crazy story of a track with Satan's Fall with, kind of a breakdown piece, in a sense, with Melissa. So that's kind of just, the dot at the end right there, on the album that just wraps things up perfectly. This album is so damn good, guys. I'm telling you, it had been a minute since I'd listened to it because, as you know, in these album review series and stuff, I kind of take breaks from listening to the discography of whoever I know is kind of coming up. That way I can, jump right back into it with some fresh listens. And man, absolute great stuff right here. If you've not heard this album, or maybe you're new to Mercyful Fate and you weren't the biggest fan of the EP, I highly suggest at least giving this full-length LP a chance here, because there is, I would say, there's more technical a lot more technicality going on, and it can be, it might just hook you, like, as far as listening to like the progressive time changes and stuff like that. Because man, first time I ever heard this, and still to this day, there's some of these just time changes and just the journeys that this album can take you on with tracks like Satan's Fall and At the Sound of the Demon Bell. Man, they can take you on some journeys. And of course, you know, my favorite off here, easily Into the Coven. One of my, I mean, this is one of the best damn riffs the band has ever pumped out. And it's just such a hooky track. Evil's awesome. I mean, every track on here, another instance of all killer, no filler from Mercyful Fate. So, anyways, guys, yeah, let's talk about this thing down here. If you guys, what were your guys' experiences with Mercyful Fate's Melissa? Really cool hearing from your guys' thoughts on that EP, and glad to hear that, you know, it's been listened to by more people than, you know, some other, because I know sometimes EPs kind of get lost in the shuffle in some bands' discographies, but I think that, like, I definitely think that that self-titled Mercyful Fate EP has always kind of been a standout in theirs, and has been more known than maybe some other bands, you know, EPs that kind of slip through the cracks. But yeah, let's talk about Mercyful Fate's Melissa down here, because next time, well, because I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this thing, and maybe what your, do you think it was a good extension of that EP, and did you like the progressive you know, direction the band started going with some of these longer tracks and everything? Because I certainly did. And of course, next time we're going to look at Don't Break the Oath, the final album before the long hiatus and, you know, the start of that King Diamond band, like the, you know, his solo work discography, which of course that'll be a whole different series we do. But yeah, we'll do a big time jump after Don't Break the Oath to the 90s when they came back. But anyways, guys, yeah, stay tuned for that. Amazing album. Check this thing out if you haven't. Like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks so much, guys.